Hello to everyone in gender communications. Today I'm going to discuss men's issues, gender studies, and explore the legitimacy of men's studies, the value of men's movements, and the complexities of men's issues, and the idea of gender studies as a unified field. The first question that I chose to answer was, is it legitimate to have a course in men's studies? Are men's movements serving valuable purposes in our society? And what is your evidence? So the legitimacy of men's studies, I believe, spark a lot of debate. I personally believe that men's studies are crucial to understand the unique experiences and challenges faced by men, especially being that I'm a woman and I've not had any of the same experiences. Men's courses focus on topics such as masculinity, gender roles, mental health, and fatherhood. They provide an important platform for critical analysis and discussion, while offering insights into issues that are often overlooked in the mainstream educational system. Some questions that need, from men's studies, like people argue that it perpetuates male privilege and detracts from the focus on women's issues. Some argue that gender studies already include the study of men and masculinity within the broader context of gender, but overall, men's lives and experiences have historically been central to academic curricula. There's a pressing need to give special attention to men's emotional and mental health in today's context, which that they have not received adequate focus at all in the past. Some people argue that gender studies, already totally encompass men, but yet, men's studies courses, they provide a valuable opportunity for men to explore masculinity in depth, examining how societal norms and expectations impact their lives. So by understanding these dynamics, we can all work towards a more inclusive and equitable society for all genders. And the second thing I'm going to speak about is the value of men's movements. So I believe men's movements serve an extremely valuable purpose in our American society. They address issues such as men's mental health, fathers' rights, workplace challenges, and societal expectations of masculinity. And raising awareness and advocating for change, while they provide support for men who could be struggling in silence. And evidence suggests that men's movements have contributed to positive change in societal attitudes towards masculinity and men's issues. For example, campaigns promoting mental health awareness. They've encouraged men to help break the stigma surrounding mental illness. And as our text states on page 77, as with women's activism, men's activism has evolved over time. Like, new groups are being created as once predominant groups are fading. An example I thought of in regards to this would be like the mythopoetic men's movement and the women's power feminism movements. They both began around the early 1990s versus the Fathers for Justice movement and the multicultural women's movements. They're both thriving and growing today. It's important to recognize, though, that all men's movements are not inclusive and constructive for all. Critical examination is absolutely necessary to make sure that the men's movements serve their intended purpose for promoting positive change. A great summation I thought that was made in our text on page 94 is, historically and today, men's movements are important in the cultural conversation about gender and its effects on individual men and women. The third topic that I'm going to discuss is, I believe that the greatest problem or source of oppression facing men in the United States today is fathers' legal rights. it's possible to generalize about the greatest problem facing it's difficult to generalize about the greatest problem facing men when men vary so much in race, ethnicity, economic status, sexual orientation. But I believe that fathers' legal rights are the greatest source of oppression facing men in the United States today. Although it's a complex and multifaceted issue, as on page 85 of our text states, Fathers for Justice believes that courts discriminate against men, assuming that women should always be the primary parents. And this can affect outcomes in court custody battles between parents. And while fathers' legal rights are a very important issue, especially in my heart, it's essential that we understand and we know the importance that, on page 89 of our text states, that men of color, they often feel that most men's movements, they don't take their histories or their lives into consideration. And experiences vary significantly based on factors such as race, ethnicity, economic status, and sexual orientation. For example, men of color face disproportionate rates of incarceration, economic inequality, and police violence. We all know this. And also, homosexual men often experience discrimination and harassment related to their sexual orientation or gender identity expression. So it is a challenge for anyone, including myself, to generalize about the greatest problem facing men without considering these problems in our society that men still face today in 2024. So realistically, addressing men's issues requires an approach that sees the interconnected nature of the various forms of oppression and discrimination that are still well and alive in our society. By acknowledging the diversity within men's experiences, I believe we can develop more inclusive and effective solutions to eradicate systematic inequalities. And the underrepresentation in academic curricula, my final point is, despite men traditionally being the focus of academic curricula, their emotional and mental needs, they've often been overlooked or downplayed, and men's studies can provide a platform to explore these issues in depth, offering insights and solutions that will benefit all genders. Thank you.